postscript on the 245 window. Right, having checked it all out, I have to congratulate the previous owner because this has actually got a new window lifter, which is very nice. Didn't expect that. I expected one end of it to be broken off, but it seems to be fine. I've just put a load of oil and grease on it, and that seems to have cheered it up a lot, especially this here spindle, which was very, very rusty, and that's beginning to loosen up a bit. So I think that most of the issues with this door were just in this little gear here, which had rusted up so badly and jammed the handle on. So hopefully this will be okay. Completely scrap speaker, which I've removed as well. Yeah, got no diaphragm at all. So there we go. Yeah, I always quite like this door mechanism, although I had an early 164 which it kept unspringing, but they changed the design later on. It kept coming apart, but these are okay. So hopefully after all that lubricating, that's all right. Needed to take the panel off, A, to get this lubricated, get it loose, and B, because there is some rust in the bottom of this door, which will require some small repairs. I'm going to try and save the existing doors because I mean they're the proper job and they're actually not bad. Right, doing some other 240 stuff recently. Having been off the road for God knows how long, the mighty Torslanda is actually back. The main job was fitting all new brakes. It's got calipers, it's got discs, it's got flexible hoses. Ended up doing them all round because they were really old. I mean, the thing's done 200,000. I think they were the originals. So that's all been done. But there was a continuing problem with this, with the engine, and it's been driving me absolutely nuts. You may recall from opening bonnet, from earlier videos, trying to get this to run properly and not have a lambda warning light. I've had these in the past, and I must admit I haven't had much faith in those warning lights and what they do, but having changed the catalytic converter and the oxygen sensor, I then had it so that the only time the warning light would come on was sort of, when it, after you'd been running for about for about 3 minutes, the engine had warmed up. Then you get the warning light and you'd cancel it and it would come back again. So I thought, right, here's something I can chase, because it was consistent and it was always doing it. The little gizmo down here, which enables you to get fault codes off, was giving me a 1, 2, 3 fault code, which means engine coolant temperature sensor, and you can't see it because it's way down underneath this manifold and round the back, and it's got one of those sort of spring wiring connectors. Everything here is suffering from having been less standing, but I was able to unconnect it, and although I thought I was going to need to come up with some really clever removal tool, or I'd have to remove that inlet manifold and or the breather system behind, I actually managed to get behind with a, strangely, short 3/4 inch open end, 19 it should be, but 3/4 inch worked great, and managed to get out the coolant temperature sensor, which looks like this. And okay, I've replaced it with a Lucas one, which is, obviously not a Bosch one. I have ordered a Bosch one, but I could get one of these quickly, and these are crazy cheap. And thus far, having got this installed, I've taken it for a couple of drives, and I have no more warning light. So possibly that's fixed. So I may put the Bosch one in later, but that seems to have cured it. I don't get a warning light. I don't get that awful misfiring and hunting that it did with the old oxygen sensor, and we seem to have a properly running car now, so hopefully it'll be correct on emissions, and I'll be getting proper fuel economy, which I most certainly have not been of late. So that's another little effort. I don't know what other people's experience of this is, but I think the misfiring and the hunting are actually caused by the onboard engine management system to sort of make you do something about it, because it runs perfectly well without a temperature sensor, but obviously it runs rich. But it starts doing the hesitancy and regular sort of hunting, and I think that might have been something coming from the box itself to actually make you do something about it. Anyhow, that's sorted. Also had the tailgates pieces because yet again the wires had broken in the hinge, and I'd lost the high level brake light and some functionality in the windscreen wiper. But it seems to be happy now, so with any luck I've got a fully operational Torslanda. It is taxed, it is MOT'd, so we'll just see how we go there. If anyone's curious as to what I've been doing on this abandoned for 40 years Amazon, I've just been spending a bit of time getting the lighting electrics working, because essentially the only stuff that worked was, well, in fact none of it works. Main problem turns out to have been the lighting switch, which I've had to replace. It's had a broken off terminal. I, of course, I found one going reasonably cheap on eBay, bought it, and then found I'd got two more kicking around here. So I could have fixed that a lot cheaper. But that now works. And the other issues were that somebody's been, well, say previous owner again, has been doing stuff to the wiring. It got all sorts of nasties. I have temporarily improved what had been done. They'd cut the wires to the headlights so that it's possible to get the wings off without taking the headlamp bulbs and headlamps out. I've just sort of repeated what they've done, but just done it a bit better. Ignore this. This is just some random wire to do with air horns. Done the same on that side. I will probably leave it like that, but I'm tempted to look at one of these sort of multi-relay conversions on the lighting electrics, which might be nice. May do that, may not, but they do work, and strange enough even the foot switch for the dipping works. So got all that sorted. I've found some headlamp bowls, so I'll be able to get that to work. These are not the wings that are going to go with it, they're just there to help me get everything lined up. One little thing, the stumpy fuse. People are always having the stumpy fuses breaking on these or blowing, and you can get them, but they're expensive and hard to find. What I've done on this is the quick solution, which is you get one of these modern blade fuses, 25 amp, and wire it up with a couple of spade clips on wires in parallel with where the old fuse was. This has a blown fuse in it, so I'm not, sort of haven't got to the parallel circuit. But that's, I thought, well, while I'm working on the electrics, there's half a chance I might blow the fuse again, so I'm not going to risk that. And that's just serving me for the time being. I may even leave that in place because it's a lot easier to replace than the stumpy 25 amp fuse. What I did was I blew the fuse. The overdrive solenoid blew the fuse because it's got a rather, it was the, I think it was that headlamp flasher that blew the fuse. No, that's not the headlamp flasher. That's the reverse light. Well, anyway, one of those relays blew the fuse because it's got a loose casing, and it ended up earthing out, and that blew the fuse, which was annoying. But anyway, there we go. Temporarily fitted with a Fiat 500 battery. That's not supposed to be there, but it takes the place, and it means I can get everything working. Right, fuel system works, but it's weird. The two carburetor jets are completely differently adjusted. I suspect I've ended up with mismatched needles or jets or something, but it starts, it runs, it's smooth, and it gets around the yard. So lovely smooth engine as before. I've got all the rear lights working, reverse lights included, so I'm definitely getting there with the electrics. I'm going to have to remove this odd relay and that and those air horns, because I very much doubt if they work, and they're just going to get in the way. I've got some more random wiring there to shift, so I'll be running along getting rid of those, and just keep progressing. As I pointed out earlier, I've got a rather sad door here. It's very bad at the bottom, but it's a shame because it's such a nice original door inside. So I'm going to try and repair this and see where I can go from there with it. Okay, so update, I think, pretty much done there. Apologies for so few videos. I've been doing a lot of changes and sort of, semi-retirement, different part-time job, running around doing all sorts of things. So it's just got distracted. But anyway, I thought I'd put something up for people to see. So there you go. Thank you very much. Bye.